Thank you guys so much for being here. And thank you, people, Facebook Live humans on the other side of the internet, for joining us. I'm so thrilled to be here. This book means a lot to me. The movie is extraordinary, and I hope all of you will agree. And it also means a lot to me. And I am sitting here with this incredible cast, and the director is really not what I imagined when I was living in a closet in Brooklyn writing this book with a towel pasted for a curtain to my single window. So thank you for helping me live the dream. We don't have a ton of time. I want to make sure that there's time for everybody to have the cast sign. So I will start by asking some questions, and if we have time, which I hope we will, we'll have about 10 to 15 minutes of questions that you guys can take. I will pick people, and you will actually come up so that, again, the people on the other side of the internet can also hear the questions. So without further ado, I wanted to start by asking Ry, the amazing Ry Russo-Young, the director, a really basic but I think important question, which is what drew you to this project? Why did you have to do this?
Yeah. The reason that I really loved this story, I think this is fine, you guys can hear me. I love this story because it really surprised me. It started out as a certain kind of movie. I thought the movie was one thing, and then it changed over the course of reading it. And that was true of the book, certainly. And I found it surprisingly really emotional. And it moved me on a personal, emotional level. And that's what I'm looking for, is to be moved.
The story of Before I Fall, for those who don't know, first of all, if you haven't read the book, literally get out. No, just kidding. But it's about a girl, Sam, who is very pretty and very popular and very mean, and who has to go through a personal transformation. So my next question for you, Zoey, is first of all, having Sam have so many different sides and facets of her character throughout the movie, what challenges did that pose for you as an actress? And also, what was it about Sam that you loved, and what made you want to then play her?
Hi. Okay. So Sam is somebody who disastrously follows the rules without any self-reflection, and throughout the course of the story, there's that sign that says "Become who you are," and that's exactly what happens. She becomes who she is, and learns that that's a sort of forever process. That's not just a one-stop shop. And I think in terms of the time loop element and exploring so many facets of her personality, I loved the idea that it pointed out that she's this walking contradiction of herself. And I think most people are. You know, people are capable of so many things, good and bad and in between. And I love that she's a bully and she's bullied, and she's not this hero or villain, and it's more complicated than that. I love that. And she's the gift that keeps on giving of a part. Like, you'd open thing and you're like, oh my God, there's that in there and there's more, and thanks to you and you. So. Yeah.
Thank you. And actually that leads me to my next question really beautifully for Halston, because Halston plays Sam's best friend, Lindsay, who is almost the leader of their group, and also very, very, very mean. I mean, people have intense feelings about Lindsay Edgecombe.
Hey!
I love her as a character. She was one of my favorite characters. But typically, when we see the mean girl character, especially in a teen movie, they are just the antagonist. They are only the villain. We never have to see from the other side of them, and we never have to feel any kind of sympathy or affinity for them. So how did you take on that particular challenge, and why did you even want to?
Hi, by the way. That's a really good question. Actually, one of the things that most attracted me to playing Lindsay was how dynamic and complex she is compared to most of the mean girls that we see in literature or in the movies. When I first met with Ry, we had a conversation about why Lindsay's mean and where her meanness comes from, because you have to understand her, not judge her as a character. And she comes from a very broken family, and she had to watch her parents go through this very difficult divorce. And for me, having this amazing family in my life that I appreciate so much, I could only imagine how heartbroken I would be to have that taken away from me. And I think that by picking on other people and bringing them down to her level, it gave Lindsay a sense of power and control over her life that is what you hope for as an actress and a character. And that's thanks to Lauren and Ry.
Magenta, who did the screenplay too. Yeah, thank you. That's great wonderful answer. Next to you, so you can Medalion. Another.
You have one.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Another typical feature I find of most teen books and movies, and even actually, honestly, about most movies that feature female characters later on, is that they're at their heart a romance. This is not at its heart a romance. The romance is not actually one of the central A, B, and C stories. I think Zoe pointed that out to me, that it's a D story. But what you have at the heart, there's almost a romance between these 4 female friends. The 4 female girlfriends. And so I wanted to ask you, first of all, whether that was kind of true to your experience growing up, about the importance of female girlfriends, and also whether that was a reason that, attracted you to taking the part.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact that it was a female ensemble cast definitely attracted me to it, because unfortunately it's not something we see all the time in film. And like we've said many times, hopefully it gets more normalized. But yeah, I mean, in high school especially, your family are your friends. You don't really talk to your parents about everything. They don't see what's happening in school. So your friends are really the ones who are the closest to you, I think. And I think having like a strong girl group is really important for girls growing up, to have that support. Girls who are bullied or people in general who don't have a lot of friends growing up, I think it can really affect them in their adult life. And so I think it's really important message to show that friends are so important to young people and that they do influence you a lot. And so it's good to surround yourself with people who sort of make you better, I think.
That's great. Kian, I mean, it's such a stretch. How did you possibly prepare for a role in which everybody thinks you're really hot? I mean, I just don't understand. No, actually, I am going to ask you a process question, though, which is that, you started and kind of came to prominence as a YouTube star, playing yourself, or I would imagine a very close version of yourself. But I know that you're transitioning now to traditional film and media, and I wanted to know why and what the difference is and what that allows you to explore.
I think for me, I like playing characters. I like, indulging into someone new, and, I get bored of playing myself all the time, as weird as that might sound. I just think it's cool, on YouTube I'm always playing myself, and like there's a certain limit you can go to within or without going into someone else's, whatever. So I think it's cool getting to create someone new and like take part in that. So yeah, I find that very interesting. So that's why.
Was Before I Fall one of the first movies you'd done that were the biggest movies you've done?
Yeah, for sure. Before I Fall is for sure one of the biggest I've done so far. So yeah, thank you, and thank you, Ry.
In a great movie prior to that, and
is that where you found it?
And he was the lead in it, and it was not an easy role to do, and I was very impressed.
You have to say it out loud.
I'm gonna let Kian say the name.
Which one?
The awesomeness movie.
The Shovel Buddies? Yeah, Shovel Buddies. Did you really?
Shovel Buddies, guys.
Okay, we're promoting
Early
Before I
Kian.
Fall.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Before I Fall.
Okay, bring it back, people. I have a question for Cynthy. Bring it back. So, Cynthy, my question for you is, one thing that I love about the casting, all attributable to, to various people, including Paula, who's here, but also Ry Russo-Young, is that the it girls are not typically in films you see it girls and they all kind of look the same. They all look like Barbies. And that is not true in this movie. There's for the 4 girls, there's a surprising diversity of what they look like, the hottest girls in school. So I wanted to ask you whether you noticed that right away, whether that was something you liked, and what that means to you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I don't think this is really... Oh, it is working. Hi. Yeah, definitely. When I originally auditioned, fun fact, I originally auditioned for the role of Elodie.
And I auditioned for Allie.
And Medalion auditioned for Allie. And I met with the casting director, Nancy Nair, and she was like, I think you're more of an Allie. So I went home and looked over Allie. I was like, yes, I am. So I came back and I read that, and the thing I loved about the script, I cried when I read it originally, so emotionally it meant something to me. I related to these girls, I related to the story, and I cared about the message. And I loved that for the first time in my acting career, I was auditioning for one of 4 girls that that opened up the opportunity for me as an Asian American girl, because it reflected my high school experience, which all the girls didn't look the same. And I loved that our 4 girls, we didn't dress the same. We all had a very distinct sense of style, and we came from different backgrounds. And it just reflects America. So it was freaking awesome, and I loved that Ry did that, and Maria and awesomeness. It meant a lot to me. So.
Yeah. Awesome. So transitioning to a slightly more or less serious question, but Before I Fall takes place on Cupid Day, which is a holiday that is actually modeled off of a real holiday that occurred in my high school, whereby people send valograms, roses with notes attached, to other people in school, because I think the administration had determined that every kid walking around with an exact physical representation of how many friends they had would be great for adolescent self-esteem. But the question is, and we can go just down the line, if you could send, it's Cupid Day today, February 12th, and if you could send a rose to one person today on a valogram, who would it be and why? Okay. Yeah. Mine's Ken McFuller. Just kidding.
Where is Ken?
I know.
He's doing other things.
Yeah.
He's doing other things.
I'd probably give one to my 11-year-old little sister, Leela. Yeah, she's actually making Valentine's Day grams for school right now.
That's so cute. I love it. Halston, down the line.
Yeah, you took mine. I was going to give mine to my little sister, but actually my brother is here.
Yay!
Yeah, he's like, what about
Oh, yay, brother!
Brother.
Yeah. You're the second choice, though, just so you know. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I would give it to my 4-month-old son, since he's new to the world.
Oh.
Here you go, guys.
So cute.
I would give my valogram, I'd split it in half, and I'd give half to you and half to you.
Oh, you're so sweet. That's so nice.
I would also split mine in half and give it to my 2 nieces, Margaret and Isla. I'm obsessed with my nieces.
Oh, that's so sweet. Are they twins?
No, they're not. One's 4 and one's 1, so not twins.
The 1-year-old would just eat it, so.
Yeah. No, and she bites, so she probably would eat it.
What about you, Kian?
I'd split mine into like a bunch. I'd give one to my mom, my sisters, my dog.
Yes, you would
my
definitely
puppy.
eat it.
Yeah, my dog would tear it apart. She doesn't get the road part.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Yeah, so I'd split up family.
we're all single.
Well, I have a husband, but I would not give it to him. I would give it, I'd give it to my mother, and this is sad, but transitions into another question I want to ask. My mother last week suddenly lost her longtime partner, who is like a second, a huge influence in her life and incredibly kind, and I was thinking about that because it was exactly 1 week before this event, and thinking about just how dramatically and suddenly, I mean, it was truly shocking and unexpected how dramatically and suddenly things can change and we can lose people. And that's a big, big theme of Before I Fall, of trying to live your life mindfully as though there's only a single day in which to kind of do it. So on the way back, I would like to ask, if you had one day, one perfect day, what would have to be included in it? What would it have to look like? Kian.
Oh, I hate starting.
Too bad.
Okay, perfect day would, I cherish my family, so I'd just be with my family all day. And if I got to relive that, it wouldn't get old, Family is always number one, so just be with my family all day.
That's awesome.
Pet my dog.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
She
always
is
like-
reliving the same day over and over. That's how dogs are.
Yes. Oh my God. I would similarly do the same. I'd be with my family. I'm seeing Santa Barbara for some reason. We love Santa Barbara. It's walking along the beach in Santa Barbara, eating a lot of food.
Yes.
With my dog, and also squeezing in time with my best girlfriends in the world, the Boo-Wah crew. Shout out to the Boo-Wah.
Oh my God, I love
LBC represent.
that was the best. What about you, Zoey?
It's like a handshake and stuff.
Yeah, I know exactly. Is there a hand sign?
Well, Sam did not get to choose her last day, so I don't think I should be able to either in this hypothetical scenario. So deep.
So committed.
Whoa.
If you think that was the first time I've been asked that question,
Yeah, exactly. But although I will say, as somebody who has a minor connection to the book, having written it, but she does get to then make alterations and choices. So is there anything it would have, one thing that it would have to include? Not a full perfect day.
Spicy tuna crispy rice.
Awesome. That's what I was looking for. Okay, great.
Well, in lieu of the fact that we're all here because of this book and this movie, I will say that my perfect day, in addition to including things like family and friends, would include watching a bunch of movies. movies because that is literally one of my favorite things to do in the whole wide world.
Yeah. Is there ever a movie you go back to and watch again and again if you're like upset about something?
Many.
Okay.
Postcards from the Edge is one of them. Yeah. A gem if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Meryl Streep, Shirley MacLaine, Carrie Fisher wrote it.
I thought you said a gem, the movie A Gem. I was like,
A Gem?
I haven't seen A Gem.
All right, Halston, what about you? Perfect day.
So, every Sunday, my family, we try to have family dinner together if we're all in town. And we do Greek food from Tony's in Malibu. And so it would have to include my family, Tony's, the dogs, and a huge bottle of wine.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Medalion.
I would say something like a picnic surrounded by friends and family and like fun art supplies around. And my puppy, Yoda.
If everybody
like
doesn't go
Yoda.
adopt a puppy after this, I will consider it a failed mission. So, yeah. This is actually sponsored by the ASPCA. So awesome. I think we have a little time for some questions. And if you can, largely focus on what is happening here as opposed to possibly past work. Actually, no, you can ask whatever you want. I'm not going to censor your speech. So yes, if you come up, but you'll have to come up here because we want the internet Facebook livers.
Don't be scared.
I will step behind this placard.
Hi.
Yes, and please tell us your name.
Yes, so come in here. I mean, yes, just so that Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I'm a little nervous.
It's okay.
Okay, so this book incorporates like a lot of themes that I think are important to like young adolescent girls and women. So I think reading it, I thought every single scene and every single chapter was important. So how did you go through the book and decide what to keep in the movie and what to throw out?
Well, this is probably more of a question for Maria Magenti, who is the screenwriter who adapted the book. So I'm going to try to speak for her, which is a terrible idea. But I think when I've heard her speak about it, she has said that she wanted to maintain the emotional core of Sam's journey, right? The arc. And so I think it was about representing what were the big emotional sort of milestones that happen on the days for her. One of the things that she did, the book takes place over 7 days. She condensed it down to 6 because she felt that she could get all of those big moments within those days.
That's
There were decisions that you made. And, I mean, I don't have anything to say.
I would love
no.
to hear.
Honestly, I started and I don't. It's
No, but actually, Zoe, I mean, I would love to know. I know that you guys, though, talked about those emotional milestones,
It's a very detail-oriented process.
It's a great question. It's a
Yes, it
great
was
question.
Haven't I met
Nicole.
you before? Okay. All right. Yeah. You look familiar. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a good question.
I don't know, like the toothpaste thing. Like there were things that we took out. In the film, you see all of the wake ups. Every single day, you see the wake up. But we shot different versions of that. Like there was, we shot every single version of the bath. You made a conscious decision with Joe Landauer which things you needed to stay and which to edit out and what. Was necessary to keep seeing. I don't know.
For sure, certainly in the filmmaking.
I shouldn't have spoken.
No, it's great. It's great. It's great. There were certain things in the filmmaking, Nicole, that like we had to sort of choose when to kind of highlight what was important and then what was going to be repetitious and boring, basically, because that's the risk, right? When you have a recurring day movie, when are you actually making a point with a scene and when is it like, oh, we've been here before, move on. And so it was really about following, again, Sam's emotional journey and saying, well, how is this relevant to where Sam is at? And what is this telling us about how she's moving forward?
I know, and people ask me a lot about the repetition of shooting, and they were like, did you ever get bored of doing this? And it felt like almost sometimes a different character every day. And it is sort of, in a lot of ways, the different stages of grief. Each day, it's denial.
I did not do deliberately, but somebody pointed out to me later that I did. So I'm going to just say I did that deliberately, guys.
But I didn't think about that either. You know, we had created our own names for the days and colors and specific things and props that changed and et cetera, et cetera. But I had never thought about it in that way either, that each day does feel like a different stage of grief. But it didn't feel repetitious.
Well,
while
yeah,
shooting
no.
It was just...
I think it's, I mean, that was obviously a concern even writing the book, was about how to make it still interesting if you're doing, but I mean, I think that's the interesting thing, is that you are recalibrating, actually sticking close to some of the same things that happen allows you to then really be telling a character story, I mean, really deeply, and hitch yourself to those things, but again, kind of reorient in a way that we typically don't get to see, obviously, in real life. We never get the chance to see from multiple different angles. And I think that's actually one of the great pleasures of the movie itself, and hopefully the book, which you will all, I expect a report from all of you by this Wednesday. Do we have another question? I saw this hand first, yes. You will have to come up here, though, I know. Can you climb over people? Actually, you know what, if you want to tell me, and then I'll ask it again.
Yeah, bring one of these there.
Move that chair.
No sense of spatial relations. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
This is for everyone. How did you emotionally prepare for the movie?
Ooh, good question.
What was your name?
Izzy.
Hi, Izzy.
Wait, Izzy, that's the name of the character in the book.
That's why.
Oh.
I was
not
actually
why.
surprised though.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah.
So how did you guys emotionally prepare for this?
Why don't we go down the line, starting with Kian?
Thanks. Emotionally prepare. The thing I had to emotionally prepare for was getting broken up with, because that was the number one thing. I was like, oh, that's the sad part. But it wasn't. He's not too far off from me in real life, so I got lucky in the sense that I didn't have to go to crazy lengths of developing some weird tick or anything like that. So I think it was fairly easy and comfortable, getting into that character.
For me, I don't know, connecting to Allie's character, I kind of, I looked at the things that were written about her, and I, researched and did all of that stuff. So I don't know, I found it I feel like there's so many parts of me like Allie that it was pretty easy to draw from, but yeah, and I think the heavy emotional weight, I mean, I guess the breakup with Matt, and that was kind of like the most emotional.
Which kind of happens off screen.
Absolutely, and then having the girls pull me back, but that was.
Well, I think for me, one of the most important elements in terms of my process of delving into the. I wanted to look at this movie rather than it be about death and the fear of what is mortality and make it more. But I wanted to think about this movie and this beautiful story and this beautiful person's life as a celebration of life. And I started from there. I wanted to find the ways to show that this girl, the flaws don't define this girl, which was something that was very prominent and in my life in middle school, where I would find my friends and they'd be like, I'm stubborn and that's who I am and no one's gonna change me, and it was like, what is that? And that's the coming back to the become who you are message. So I just wanted it to feel like a celebration of this beautiful person's life, and in turn a celebration of everybody who watches it.
I would just say, before any of the casting and the prep process, I do a lot of image pulling for how the movie's going to look, but also I have a folder for every character in the movie, and I pull a bunch of images, whether they be text, lines from the book, or something that Allie would have on her wall, for example, or a painting that Halston would love, Lindsay would love, and so different folders for each character to sort of get in their headspace, or who are they looking at, who's their inspiration in the world. So that's kind of part of my process for understanding who these girls are.
I think for me, I went to an all-girls high school, so that was very, very helpful in my research of girls who don't treat others as nicely as they maybe should. But what was a big part of playing Lindsay for me was, like we talked about earlier, where that came from, and making sure that she came from a very real place of just wanting to be loved or wanting other people to like her. The way that she wished her parents would. So.
I also related to Elodie in a lot of ways. Just don't have her taste for alcohol as much, but I always like to journal. That helps a lot as the character. So sometimes be like, Lindsay was so mean today, but still love her, or things like that. Things like that always helps. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, emotionally prepare. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that writing is... That's a very, interestingly, I've never been asked that question. How do you emotionally prepare? I mean, I drew a lot of my books. I mean, I think all of my fiction is ultimately, it is an expression of stuff that I am going through. I think that if you took Sam's journey and you extended it from about 7 days to about 7 years, it's probably similar to an emotional journey I went on. And novels are like dreams in a way, because they are reflections of your fears and your wishes in your life, but then they get distorted and they wear different faces. So it's less about preparing. In writing, you are doing the emotional mapping on the page. You know what I mean? And you're discovering, you are writing your way into it all the time. And it can be, there are tears occasionally shed in my computer. Although most of my tears shed on my computer are like, oh my God, I've been working for 4 hours. Why do I have 40 words? That's less than one tweet, you know? So anyway, so that's most. I think actually they will probably, have to stop in order to get everybody signed and then over to the screening. I would like to end with a quotation that I was reminded of this week, which was Henry James. He said there's 3 important things to life. There's 3 things you have to know. 1, be kind. 2, be kind. And 3, be kind. So I hope that's what you get from this book and this movie as well. So thank you.
Maybe for you there's a tomorrow, but for some of us, there's only today.
Hey, sexy, get in.
Fine. No, I'm eating. Get out.
Oh, you guys.
Big party tonight. My mom's going out of town.
Oh my God. What's she doing here?
Watch this. What are you doing? What happened last night?
What are you talking about?
I've been having deja vu all day long.
Are you okay?
It wasn't a dream. It really happened. Again.
The only way to escape is to change.
Watch out for the trap.
What trap?
I had to do something that would make a difference. Maybe things could change. And maybe I could change them. It's too late. It's never too late.
Are you in trouble? You can trust me.
You can trust me back.
Let me down gently. That's what I think I need.
Maybe for you there's a tomorrow, but for some of us, there's only today. But I didn't know any of that until right before I fell.